New characters in Zenless Zone 0 always have tons of hype, and in this honest review video, I want to balance this pros and hype with some of the cons for us to consider to keep us grounded as we make a more informed, balanced decision on Burnice for our accounts. Let's start things first off strong with the first pro. Pro number 1. Off-field damage dealers offer insane amounts of values, especially in games that only allow you to have one on-field character at a time. Everyone fights for who wants to be the star of the show, the one that's on field, but at the end of the day, some characters have to be off the screen, 2 characters to be exact, and characters that thrive in this situation are off-field supports or even characters that deal some sort of damage off-field, for example, like Burnice. She contributes tons of damage, tons of utility. She offers so much value that might be the only thing you think about all the time for hopefully the right reasons. Pro number 2. She's also a utility anomaly character. Not only does she deal damage, she also provides utility for your team by helping you prop the anomaly and disorders and whatnot. Her kit extends burn duration, very similar to the likes of Rena, who increases shock duration. Rena is more special for a support specialization, whereas Burnice is really an anomaly character. This burn extension works really well in the current game state because of the current 4-piece fire set, which gives equippers a whopping 28% crit rate against burning enemies. Very simply, main stat crit rate for your drive disc, 28% crit rate here from the 4-piece burning set, and the 2-piece set bonus for the crit set, and the base stats of your characters. Many things to add up, but basically 65% crit rate free. That's insane amounts of utility right there when you can have burning extension. So I think it works really nicely. The only problem and why we haven't seen this too much is we haven't really had a fire main DPS, limited fire main DPS being introduced in the game. We don't even have like a 4-star, A rank that is a fire main DPS. So when more comes out in future, definitely this could be a tactic that could be used much better in the coming days. Now, let's balance it out, okay? We've talked about like 2 pros now, so we don't want to get too overboard. Cons number 1. It's not all that rosy. The truth is, she doesn't really fit flexibly into team compositions as some of the other characters in-game. Let me give you an example. For example, like Caesar. For example, like Ting Yi. These 2 characters are much better off in fitting into a variety of team compositions. To put it bluntly, Burnice's best team compositions currently in the game state likely involve Jane Doe, Soldier 11, or Piper to some extent as the ones like dealing some of the damage. Of course, there are more characters. Some of you might be thinking Lucy, Rena, Grace, and all that stuff. We discuss more variations of team compositions on our team's video on the channel if you're interested. But by and large, the long story short is she prefers anomaly DPSs or fire main DPSs. She doesn't really work too well with other DPSs in the game that are maybe specializing in crit, for example. And they are of course outside of fire. For example, Zhu Yuan and Ellen. Why is this the case? Zhu Yuan, if you think about her best team composition, she wants to play with a support that buffs her like Nicole. Ellen wants to play with Sokaku that helps her with the ice damage that she wants to do. And the last slot for traditional crit DPSs like these is usually a stun character to help them bring out the best in their DPS window. And likely, this could be expected from characters that they introduce in the game that are crit DPSs moving forward that are not fire in nature. That is like the first main con that I think is very important to factor in. But she still has many team compositions available. Check out the video on the channel if you're interested in more of that. Let's go on to cons number 2. There are too little anomaly A rank units in general, and more so than that, this problem pretty much is like generally the same across most anomaly units, but it's quite important for Burnice as well. Currently, we know basically only 5 characters in the game that are anomaly. Out of these 5 characters, 3 of which, Burnice, Jane Doe, Yanagi, are gacha S-rank characters. And one of them, Grace, is a standard S-rank, which means you have to get either lucky or pick up 300 pulls, which is quite a lot for newer players or people who don't pull standard. Hopefully none of you do as well. This restriction does make it a little tougher to build a wide range of teams to tackle content in the near term. The only A rank we have now is Piper. Will they introduce more A ranks in future? They could, but so far we haven't had quite a lot of A ranks coming into the game. It's very unfortunate, maybe because they're trying to monetize the S rank anomalies first. But now, 2 for 2 already. Very, very fair and even so far in terms of pros and cons. Let's talk about pro number 3. Burnice offers solid damage for your roster. One of the biggest worries when I first saw Burnice, the drip marketing and stuff, is that if she offered too little damage or too little anomaly build up, why would you want to run her, and instead why don't you just run with another on-field Anomaly character that provides you with good damage and Anomaly build-up? So one of the key things about her is she needs to work well off-field. Thankfully now, those worries are unfounded. Burnice offers both solid amounts of DPS and at the same time a great rate of Anomaly build-up. So making her really a very, very impressive off-field damage dealer for her particular role as an off-field DPS Anomaly character in general. Con number 3. Now, although this category here I label as a con is more of a game state and mindset issue than a problem specifically with Burnice, currently Zenless Zone 0 is having an over-focus on Anomaly that may be clouding our visions. Look at the current game state, right? We have Jane Doe into Burnice, into Yanagi, although they are of different patches, but you have 3 Anomaly units in the span of 7 limited characters since Zenless Zone 0 was officially released. If it doesn't seem like anything to me, that sounds like an agenda right there, right? Maybe from Hoyoverse, they're trying to push out a certain agenda, and at the same time, we do not have any A-rank Anomaly characters being introduced. One must remember that when you are pulling these kind of units in this like peak season, 3 out of 7 is like almost 50% of the new characters are all Anomaly. Know that you are pulling in the season of favoritism. You are unintentionally perhaps betting that it's going to remain the same or keep up. To me, I think the odds are in favor of keeping the same or going down, because keeping up or improving means that there'll be more anomalies. They're going to have like 5 out of 9, 5 out of 11, I don't know. But that seems a bit over excessive at this point. Knowing Hoyoverse, after playing the games for like 4 to 5 years, I think that things are likely to change. The key question really is, how soon will they change and what will they change? If they change it by introducing new A-rank DPSs, huge thumbs up. Benefits any Anomaly character in the game because there are more team compositions that can be tackled. The benefits about Anomaly teams is they can be played into many different types of elements, so you can tackle many different content. You can play a rainbow team of triple Anomaly, 1 physical, 1 fire, 1 electric. They can tackle tons of content, so that is a huge plus. But we need the character roster to support it. So let's do a very quick sum up, shall we? What do I think so far? The 3 cons that we see over here really is talking about more of game state rather than issue with Burnice herself and the restrictions of Anomaly characters. The only true restriction on Burnice is currently the team compositions. She might not work into as many team compositions as some other characters, and perhaps because being a DPS, she could be subjected to a little bit more power creep in future. But overall, thinking about the long term and big picture in mind, I will rate Burnice a very solid 7.5 out of 10. That is an A already by most countries globally as well for examinations. But really the cons that we mentioned in the terms of the game state and Anomaly characters in general keep my rating a little bit more grounded for now. It could be a lot higher if Hoyoverse decides to support Anomaly a little bit more, especially with cheaper alternatives, and if they want to remain the meta into the direction of Anomaly. If you're interested at this point in more Burnice content, do check out these 2 other videos right here, especially this one on Burnice investment value, which I think you might find very interesting as well. We have a build guide on her coming soon. Stay tuned, and thank you guys again so much for watching. See you in the next video.